In our last episode, we brought the families of the United States closer together economically by redistributing our wealth shares through demand-side economic policies. It's nice to see you all sitting closer to each other and less bunched up at the bottom. Right now, we're going to check out what happened to the economy between 1980 and 2008. When President Reagan was elected, he brought a different economic strategy to the country. Economists call it supply-side economics. Other people call it Reaganomics. Supply side is based on the idea that the engine of the economy is the big investor, the guy that owns a lot of chairs, not the masses of little guys. Instead of using policy to spread money around, supply side aims to push money to the top of the economic ladder, to wealthy people and corporations. The thinking here is that they will use the money to create jobs for the rest of us. Let's look at the rules for supply side. Supply side wants to keep wages low because higher wages eat into profit at the top. So the government stopped adjusting minimum wage for inflation and people gradually lost a lot of buying power. Supply-side policies also make it harder for workers to organize unions. It worked. In 1960, 1 out of 3 workers were in unions. Today, it is 1 in 10. Supply-side lowered taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Today, 2 out of 3 corporations don't pay any taxes. The idea is that they should keep their money so they can invest it the way they choose instead of the government collecting it and spending it how Congress chooses. Supply side cut the role of government in the economy. Since the 1970s, there has been about an 80% reduction in federal urban programs and reduced government oversight of key industries like banking, airlines, food, and the environment. The message to government is leave business alone. So let's move into the present and check out the effect that these policies have had on our 10 chairs. As of 2004, the top 10% of American families own 71% of the wealth. That means you, rich guy, own all 7 of those chairs again. I'm sorry, but you little guys are going to have to move back to where you were back in the day. 20% of our families have 0 or negative net wealth. So 2 of you have to move completely away from the chairs. The rest of you have to figure out how to share those 3 chairs again. Your wealth is mostly the home you own and the pension you earn from working. You tend to be older and white because it's hard for younger people to buy a home nowadays and most jobs don't offer a pension anymore. And the top 1%, basically this guy's arm, owns more wealth than all the rest of you little guys combined. So here we are in 2009, but it looks just like 1929. But wait, something is different. Check out the people at the bottom. They don't all look poor. They seem to have a lot of stuff. Computers and Nikes and SUVs. What's up with that? Where did that money come from? You borrowed it? From where? Credit cards? Subprime mortgages? Some of you have been using your houses like an ATM to buy stuff and pay the bills. It seemed like a smart thing to do at the time since the value of your house was going up, right? So you kept refinancing, took cash out, and went shopping. From 2001 to 2006, homeowners in the U.S. cashed out $1.2 trillion in home equity. Today, people really use credit cards more and more for everyday life. Between 1989 and 2006, Americans' credit card debt grew by 315% to $876 billion. So that's why you guys look different. Let's keep thinking about this as our story unfolds. And here's something else. Just during the 8 years that George W. Bush was in office, the wealthiest individuals in the U.S. saw their wealth increase by $670 billion. And over the last 10 years, the economies of other countries like Brazil, Russia, India, and China have grown enormously. It took 100 years for the world to amass $36 trillion in savings. In the last 8 years alone, between those emerging countries, the economies of Europe, and the enormous concentration of wealth in the hands of the rich in the U.S., the global pool of money has doubled to $70 trillion in just 8 years. And this $70 trillion has everything to do with our next episode about the causes behind the housing crisis, the collapse of Wall Street, and a worldwide financial meltdown.